Have you ever thought about what it would be like to stand in the shadow of something so huge that it would dwarf even the biggest animals living today? Think about a creature as heavy as 12 adult African elephants put together. A huge animal that goes against everything we thought was possible just by existing. Welcome to the world of Dreadnoughtus, a giant that had no fear. We're about to discover the amazing story behind this huge thing in today's video. It was an amazing find, and it gives us new, groundbreaking information about the old world. Let's look into the life of one of the biggest animals that has ever lived. Our story starts in Patagonia, Argentina, a wild and remote place. Imagine plains that are so big and empty that they go on forever, with tall mountains in the background. It was 2005. Paleontologist Kenneth Lacavera led a group of people into this hard, unforgiving land. He was looking for something amazing that would change the way we think about life in the past. Lacavera and his team were looking through a place that is known for having a lot of fossils. Suddenly, someone on the team saw something strange. It was a big bone that was partly showing on the surface. That bone wasn't just any bone, it was a femur, which is the leg bone of an incredibly huge animal. The team was filled with excitement when they realized they had discovered something very important. They carefully started the very slow process of digging. The clock and the weather were against them. The bones were hard to find and get out of because they were covered in minerals and had been worn down by time. Even though these problems came up, the team kept going, and their hard work soon paid off. More bones came to light as they dug deeper. Each discovery made things even more exciting. The team found a lot of bones that together make up almost the whole body of this huge dinosaur. There would never be another find like it in the history of science. Before we continue exploring this incredible journey into the past, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss any of our future deep dives into the most fascinating dinosaurs that once roamed our planet. Take a better look at this huge thing. Dreadnoughtus wasn't just big, it was the biggest of the biggest ships. Just its leg was 6 feet tall, making it much taller than most people. The humerus, the bone in the upper arm, was almost as big. A creature of amazing size was supported by these huge bones. One of the most amazing things about Dreadnoughtus was its tail. It was amazing that it was 30 feet long and was full of strong muscles. This tail was not only very long, but also very strong. Think about a tail that could have been used as a tool to easily swat away enemies or predators. The huge size of Dreadnoughtus' spines was one of the most interesting things about it. One of the bones in its neck was more than a yard across. These huge bones held up a creature that moved with power and ease that was hard to imagine. Just looking at these bones gives us an idea of how strong an animal must have been to support itself. Scientists have learned a lot about sauropods and other big land animals from Dreadnoughtus, not just because of how big it is. Many other big dinosaurs are only known from a few bones, but Dreadnoughtus is known from more than 100 different parts. Scientists can learn more about this huge dinosaur with these fully assembled bones than with bones that are only partially put together. The almost entire skeleton has taught us a lot about Dreadnoughtus' body and how it worked. Researchers were able to look at how its muscles were connected, how it moved, and how it interacted with its surroundings. This amount of detail helps paleontologists figure out what the body could and could not do for such a huge animal. To get a digital copy of Dreadnoughtus' bones, researchers have used high-tech methods such as 3D laser scans. With this technology, detailed studies can be done on fossils without touching them, which keeps them safe for future research. Digital models can be shared with scientists all over the world, which makes it easier for them to work together and do more study. It helps to know about other big dinosaurs to fully understand Dreadnoughtus. Consider the Argentinosaurus, which is another huge sauropod. Numerous sources name Argentinosaurus as one of the biggest dinosaurs, but Dreadnoughtus is more impressive because its skeleton is more complete and can be studied in greater detail. Also, Dreadnoughtus changes the way we think about the size and anatomy of sauropods. For instance, the way its tail is built is very different from other tails. It has big places where muscles connect, which makes me think it has a very strong tail. This is different from other sauropods, whose tails may not have been as well grown. Now, let's talk about one of the most interesting things about Dreadnoughtus, what it eats. Even though it had a scary name, Dreadnoughtus was not a killer. This huge animal was a herbivore, a gentle giant that spent its days eating the lots of plants that were available at the time. Imagine a monster that was so huge that it had to eat a huge amount of food every day just to stay that size. That being said, how did it find and eat enough to fill its huge stomach? I think Dreadnoughtus lived in huge woods and plains. Its long neck helped it reach high into trees for the freshest branches and leaves. Its teeth were properly shaped for ripping leaves off plants and crushing them. These teeth were wide and shaped like pegs. They were made to eat tough, fibrous leaves. Dreadnoughtus' teeth were not sharp and serrated like the teeth of animals. Instead, they were designed to grind up a lot of plant matter. What about its size, though? You might be confused about how something so huge could move to find food. Dreadnoughtus didn't have to stalk its prey like a hunter would. It could instead just stand there and use its very long neck to strip an entire tree bare. Dreadnoughtus could eat a huge amount of food without having to use up too much energy thanks to this smart way of eating. The way it ate was also affected by how big it was. A lot of dangerous animals would be afraid to attack something as big as Dreadnoughtus. This meant it could feed without having to constantly watch out for danger. It's possible that Dreadnoughtus moved slowly to save energy and attacked the plants around it methodically. This slow, steady way of eating helped keep its huge body going, which helped it do well in the lush, ancient environment. How did Dreadnoughtus' life go? Imagine a world where it was always hard to stay alive. There were probably a lot of dangerous animals on the land, like theropods. Even though Dreadnoughtus was very big, these animals would have been a threat to it. But because it was so big and strong, it would have been a tough opponent. Dreadnoughtus' tail was not only a weapon, but also a way to show who was in charge. Physical strength was often the only way to stay alive in that world, so Dreadnoughtus' size and power would have given it a big edge. To fully understand what Dreadnoughtus is, picture what it looked like in its natural environment. Visualize a huge dinosaur stomping across the ground as it moves through a prehistoric scene. The artistic versions of Dreadnoughtus help bring it to life by showing how it might have moved and looked. These replicas are based on fossils and give us a look into the life of this huge animal. These pictures of Dreadnoughtus in different positions and activities help us imagine how it might have interacted with its surroundings. Paleontology has changed a lot because of Dreadnoughtus. Its finding has called into question ideas about how big sauropods were and how they worked. Researchers have found new ways to study giant dinosaurs and changed the way they study them because the nearly full skeleton gives them so much information. The information we got from Dreadnoughtus changes how we think about the biology and development of dinosaurs. It has also made people want to learn more about big dinosaurs, which has led to new findings and theories about these amazing animals. As our trip through time comes to an end, it's clear that Dreadnoughtus was a really strange animal. Our knowledge of the dinosaurs has grown greatly since its finding, and it has made us think about what else is possible in the animal kingdom. The thought of this huge animal that had no fear continues to fascinate experts and dinosaur fans alike. The Dreadnoughtus left behind more than just a big ship. It also left behind new questions and new information. As we continue to learn more about and explore these prehistoric giants, Dreadnoughtus will stand as a reminder of how diverse and grand life was back then. Thanks for coming along with us on this amazing trip. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more interesting stories from the past.